go.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
That's how
hello.
they start, right? Okay, so we are here to discuss the first two episodes of Jessica Jones. And
Yes.
Should we introduce ourselves, or is that too lame?
That sounds like a good idea. I think that's a
Okay,
why
sounds
not? You
good.
know, people
Okay,
listen to
why
us. They
not?
want to know who we are at a personal
Okay,
touch.
universe. My name is Manu, and I have a problem watching too much TV. So I think this should be just perfect.
Well,
For
luckily,
me.
Manu just got a job working for Netflix in Italy, so
So that's my life.
that's at least she's channeling that in a good direction. Hi, my name is Jack. I love overanalyzing movies and TV, and I don't know. Manu and I have spent hundreds, if not thousands, of hours just talking about bullshit TV and
Anything
movies and
that
stuff.
regards
So
TV. Exactly.
we figured to put out a
We do not
podcast for
discuss
it.
serious stuff. Sorry,
Yeah,
I interrupted you.
and no, and so intersecting with Netflix dropping Jessica Jones, we decided to do a podcast roughly following 2 episodes at a time. Monty, what do you think? What's this podcast gonna be about?
I don't know. People that have no life.
It's not about us though. It's about the show.
True. So I guess people with superpowers, which are not us. I don't know. TV in general.
Just talk about Jessica Jones. So okay,
Maybe
something
we'll just
I wanted
do
to ask.
shows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of the shows, I think we'll just do whichever shows we damn well feel like doing.
Exactly. True. I agree.
But question: are we gonna have a spoiler, non-spoiler section for the episodes?
Oh, definitely not. In terms of, I mean, we're discussing the first two episodes, so anybody who hasn't watched the first two episodes can suck it, because, I mean...
Spoilers on. You've all been warned. All right.
Exactly.
Sweet,
we're not going to spoil anything past the first two episodes, especially because Jack hasn't seen more than 2 episodes, so...
Manu, I've been using Manu's Netflix, and you're at what, episode 7, I think, or like
yes,
6
I
or
have
7,
no
something like that.
Self-control. I'm
and
sorry.
You were at 2 yesterday, so
yeah,
so you're going at it.
Yep. Anyway, so I'm gonna try to control myself and not spoil anything, but I think I'm good at that.
Well, Manu, you wanna give us a quick recap? Just kind of, you're good at explaining things like this, like I
said no one ever, but anyway.
No, yes, I always loved having you explain movies and TV shows you were watching to me.
Okay, so Jessica Jones, briefly, tells the story of a retired superhero, though she's not been a superhero very long. She has she has like special capacities, I guess. She's just, see, I can't fucking speak English anymore. Anyway, she's super strength, and she can sort of fly. She can really fly. She just jumps really high and then falls. But anyway, so that's pretty much the story. We see her as a private investigator who has a drinking problem, clearly, and who is suffering from PTSD from being manipulated and controlled by our super bad guy, who is creepy as shit. And basically he,
played by the best cameo of all time. I'm calling it right now. That was the best cameo drop that Marvel's ever done.
Okay, what are you referring to?
Who plays the guy that controls your mind?
Okay, so you know who's playing the guy.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I didn't remember if they already showed him in episode 2 or something, or you figured out who he was, but yeah.
I know I'm getting ahead of myself. That's the end. It's the very end of episode 2.
Yes.
And I know that we said spoilers, but I don't know if I want to break it just yet. But oh my god, it's delicious.
Let's wait a little bit for that.
Sorry to interrupt.
To discuss it. No problem. And so basically, yes, she's trying to recover from that, and she is also obsessively stalking this dude who owns a bar. But we don't really know why exactly at the beginning. But yeah, so that's the story. And the first episode, she gets hired by these two parents to find their daughter who's been mind controlled by somebody or sort. I mean, she's in a cult of some sort. At least that's what the mother thinks she is, and that story starts from there. So I guess that's all I can say about it, right? I
That
already
seems like
said
a
too
good place as
much.
any to. That's a great recap. Thanks, Manu.
Oh, you're very welcome. I try my best.
Well, maybe that can be part of like your regular segment. It's like doing the
Um,
recaps.
Me doing the recaps.
It's better
Okay,
than
if you
me
don't
doing
want
the
anybody
recaps
to listen ever, sure.
because here's my takeaways from it. Like when I was watching it, I was like, first off, best Marvel theme song of all time.
Oh yeah, definitely
So
great.
much better than any, like, sets a new bar. It's like really good intro. Almost more of a like the first season of True Detective level
Yeah, I mean
good. Like
it
a
is
really good
straight up.
song mixed with a
Yeah, it
really
is
cool
straight up
intro.
a noir. It's
Hmm.
not, it's not meant to be a superhero show. It's a noir.
Yeah, they throw in the noir
What people?
detective thing right away because
Oh yeah,
instantaneously she's taking photos. She's like, her thing says private detective, or what does it say, private investigator or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Alias
She's
investigations.
Yeah, exactly. Eli's investigation, and also, talking about, the starts with the typical genre monologue of the disillusioned PI who talks about how shitty life is and how shitty people are and how great they are seeing how shitty people are. It's a very, also, just because it's a female character discussing that, right, it remind me a lot of Veronica Mars, like a
Hmm.
way darker version of Veronica Mars, which
Unfortunately, I
says a
never
lot
watched
because
Veronica Mars, so I don't have that comparison.
yes,
But
exactly, but yeah, because you have no taste. I'm joking. Sorry. I
but
love
I
you.
loved. I thought that they went dark fast, which
Yeah.
was really cool. And by the end of episode 2, they're going darker and darker.
Yes. Yeah.
People getting killed, people getting manipulated,
I mean, straight up,
weird
somebody who
pseudo
rapes
sexual
people.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's. Yeah. I mean, it's in that sense. I love how it's a show about recovering from you know a type of violence that's very connected with the rape culture. So in that sense, how I fucking love discussing that shit. So
Well, also like
clearly.
really like I mean multiple instances of people talking about like trying to convince other people to kill themselves or to
Yes. Yeah.
have other people kill them. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't pull punches on stuff like that. Like it goes for
Oh
it.
no, definitely. Yeah. Definitely just goes for it, which
Hmm.
is great.
Well, also there was a couple of scenes like um, the first scene where Jessica Jones visits the Hope, the kind of the victim who,
Yes.
spoiler alert, Manchurian Candidate's her parents in such a good ending to the first episode.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was so
Um,
great.
and if you don't
Also
know
the
what I mean by
tension, how yeah, they build up the tension the entire time, like it's just great from the moment she. Also, spoiler alert, we're like just going straight to the end of the episodes, but when she goes to the hotel to get her,
Mhm.
um and then just from that moment when she rings the alarm, it's from there, it's a constant tension even after she saved her, like something's gonna happen, you don't know what, you're just like waiting for the other shoe to drop, and then it's pretty great when it does.
Well, speaking of which, I've also kind of assumed that Jessica Jones is afraid that maybe she's got like a little mind ticking time bomb like that in her brain too, like the girl did. Like
Well, I think it's more like he was in there, and so it's because I mean they clarify. I don't remember if they do it. Do they clarify the extent of his powers in the
no,
second episodes?
not really. They just say that distance and
And time, yeah.
time are
So
like.
we know it's been a year. We know it's been a year that she hasn't been mind controlled by
Mhm.
him. So it's fair to say that objectively, he can't really mind control her just yet. But also, but yeah, I can feel that somebody will have to feel him still there and still in control.
Yeah.
But yeah, just crazy creepy. Yeah, he's creepy as hell. I love the moments where, she's dozes off and the lights turn purple, and then you just know he's coming, and just it's a
Well,
flash of it,
at first
and
I
it's
thought it
just
was
there.
at first I thought it was a little over the top in terms of how they did it, but it was really effective in terms of like he just keeps showing up and like yelling at her,
Yeah.
and
Oh, for me, the most terrifying was the second one when she dozes off on the desk and she feels that he licked her. Like, that was
oh.
oh, so gross and so terrifying.
And speaking of, I mean, that's another thing that's cool about this show compared to other parts of the Marvel canon is it's willing to go there sexually. I mean, there's like
Yes.
a
Yeah.
pretty explicit hookup. I mean, I guess it doesn't like it doesn't go HBO style, like it doesn't
Yeah.
show
We
them
don't see
topless. It
booties
doesn't
or butts. Exactly.
exactly. Um, but it's pretty straight up, and yeah, that's. I mean, it just feels unusual for Marvel that usually. I think my impression of them is they like to play the safe PG-13 route.
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't seen them stray too
Definitely.
hard from it, but a movie like this might. I mean, if this were a movie as opposed to a Netflix show, I mean, it might be our territory. I'm not 100% sure if it's there, but it definitely goes darker and sexier, and I don't know about
Definitely.
necessarily more violent yet, but
Yeah. Oh, no, I completely agree. It's, I mean, the thematic and everything, it feels, very much like Daredevil. They just can't afford to be way more dark than they can be in movies. So that's great that they can do that.
or maybe it's like the movies get all the money for CGI, so the TV shows have to use atmosphere to make up for the lack of budget.
Oh, definitely, exactly. I mean, yeah, I agree. But okay, so should we go scene by scene, or well, not scene by scene, but
Wait,
we're discussing both episodes, so we can actually.
yeah, can I bring up a topic I want to talk about?
Of course,
I want to talk about
yes.
Trinity. Uh, the the lawyer, the what's her name, Carrie Ann Moss
Oh,
played
yes,
Trinity from The
Korean.
Matrix.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not to pigeonhole her into one role, but she's still rocking the short hair. And at first, you're kind of like, oh, it's going to be another one of her like tough, stern characters. But she really plays something a little bit different. She plays this kind of like a little bit prissy, very like smart, kind of like more like she plays. She's a high-powered lawyer, and she
Yeah.
plays it really, really well.
She plays it
She's
because she
like
comes
in a
off as a
relation.
scumbag.
What's that?
She comes off as a scumbag in the best way possible.
Yeah, but if you look at her, and yeah, and it's great. It's like you look at her mannerisms, and it's really interesting. She does a lot with her character that I think could with a lesser actor might go a little bit not quite as well done.
Yeah, definitely. Well, she's good. Yeah, she's really good at that. And yeah, I loved talking about something else. I did love the the conversation she has with the guy that she serves the salmon to when
Mm-hmm.
that's when she stops the car, and then he threatens to tell everybody about her, and she's like, nobody's gonna believe you anyway, because everybody wants to not believe this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was great and very realistic. Like, that's they rather believe somebody's crazy than somebody else's superpower, even if this is New York you know, post Avengers.
Well, a lot of this show really seems to revolve around or metaphorically, I mean, really loosely metaphorically, like revolve around mental illness. Like she's got
Yes.
PTSD. She drinks a ton. She has literal flashbacks because the guy who controlled her and kidnapped her like took over her brain, and like as a result, like she was like it's unclear exactly what it looks like, but it's like the girl described it as like part of her knew she didn't want to do these things, but then another part of her did want to do those things, and that's why, like
Yeah.
essentially like her body did it. And
There's also the point that because just part of them, only parts of them has control of their mind, and so they're aware that they don't want to do something, but at the same time they want to do it. I feel it's a very realistic way of how, kind of just like degrading it is, because then it makes you question yourself, and also you feel guilty about it, which is victim blaming, and all those topics came into place, which I loved. So yeah
absolutely.
Sorry.
No, I mean it's like it's like so much, it's so much more cerebral in that way than Marvel's usual, like, hey, let's shoot the aliens with our bow and arrows.
Yeah.
You don't get
Yeah.
Marvel really exploring characters that deeply. I mean, at the end of the day, most of those characters are like essentially like like fairy tale characters. Like they're just like character types. Like Iron Man is like the douchey smart guy, and Captain America is the good guy, and they play with those tropes and stuff like that. But most of their characters you can describe in about one or two sentences.
Definitely.
And this show like really gets into her psychology a lot, which is like, it really seems pretty unusual. Like Iron Man 3 honestly had some of that too. It had like some really good PTSD scenes.
I still have to see that movie, but I keep hearing that that's one of the best aspects of the movie, that focuses on that.
I think that would be probably like in my top 3 Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Maybe top 5. I mean, it's pretty good. It didn't get very good reviews, but like I thought it was way better than like Thor 2 or like the first Captain America or something.
I have to say, I like, the more you see it, the more I appreciate the first Captain America, in the way it's like very much stylized to be exactly what a movie of that time would have been.
Yeah.
Of that sort. So that I really appreciate, but
he's okay. His weird, his hot. What's his name? That dude from Scott Pilgrim, the guy who plays Captain America.
Yeah.
Chris, what's his name?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
Now you're making me forget freaking Captain America, dude.
His head CGI'd onto that scrawny body. I'll definitely never forget that.
At times it was a little rough. It was a little rough.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I love about these shows that they also know, they do have origin stories and all, but I feel like they also know the importance of sometimes leaving things a little bit unsaid. And I don't know if they're gonna explore her origin story in the next episodes and stuff, but
okay, well, here's something maybe you can answer is, does she have like telepathic or telekinetic powers? Like, can she move stuff with her mind?
Are you referring to the bus?
Yeah.
I asked myself the same exact thing.
Maybe you can describe for the audience what happened, and we can like analyze it for a second.
So basically, she thought that the bad guy, whose name is Kilgrave,
subtle
by
as
the
always.
way, awesome
Marvel.
name, very subtle, very subtle. Like, clearly he goes for subtle.
Death murder.
So basically she thought it was dead because she saw his death certificate, and she saw him. She left him to die after he made her do something. One of the last few things, like the last thing that basically kind of broke the spell in her brain, and so she walked away from him, and he's in the middle of the street, and then a bus is coming, and then we see the bus basically kind of turn on itself. It doesn't look like the bus is having an accident. It more looks like she did it in order to hit him with the bus, but we don't know if that's, it doesn't seem like that's in any way or form part of her powers.
Yeah,
that would be more his powers, but not even. So
it looks
That
like
was
the bus
unclear.
is about to hit her, and she had basically like
Moves it with
Harukens it
the
with her hand and like shoots like mind bullets at it, and it like stops, and it like kind of like stops and flips.
yeah, exactly. Like it
Um,
literally looks like she's flipping it.
yeah.
She's making it flip. Like, but it's not. Yeah. So I don't really know what the deal is
Because everything
with
else
that.
I've seen her do seems like strength. Like she can jump really
Yeah,
high, but that's a strength
exactly.
thing. And she can like obviously she can bend stuff and she can like throw dudes, but that's all because she's like really strong. I
Yeah.
think that like getting into that too. That's I really enjoyed how they busted that stuff out. Like the shoot, like one of the earliest things, like you don't know she's a superhero at first, like,
Yes.
and just slowly she does things, and you're like, wait, that was a little bit, that was really strong. Like, what was that? And like one of the first ones was she throws the shoe at the ceiling
Oh
at her
yeah,
noisy
loved it.
neighbors,
Yeah.
her like weirdo, creepy, like her neighbors.
Oh
Like
god,
what
yeah.
is up with those people? Um, but I thought they did a really good
I
job of
don't know how.
slowly letting you know that, like, kind of figure it out yourself.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
yeah,
was pretty
exactly.
cool.
And I mean, even just the jump she does when
Yeah.
she goes on spy him, which by the way didn't really make sense to me that she can just like easily jump that high and then struggles to like climb over the stair. I was like, that doesn't seem like. But maybe she was drunk already, so that will
Oh my
explain it.
God, she drinks so much.
She really does.
She
But yeah,
really does.
yeah. Well, I guess she has super strength in her, you know, digestive system or something. But yeah, what's something that I really like is that they never like they don't really explain to you how she got her powers. There's just like throwaway line how she got her powers, and it's not explained, and you don't really know much about her, and I don't care to know how she got her powers. That always for me takes away because I have to rationalize it. And if
Hmm.
I have to rationalize it, then definitely that takes away from the realism of the story. I just have to somehow be like, okay, we live in fantasy land. Well, if you don't explain to me why, I just, can leave that part
You can keep the
out.
illusion easier.
Exactly, exactly. So
Yeah.
I like it. I like it very much that they don't discuss that.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, like, I don't know anything about her as a character, as the Marvel character. Like, before they did this, I had probably never heard of Jessica Jones before.
Yeah, yeah, me neither. Yeah,
So they could do anything. It's not like character. I mean, Daredevil, you kind of have your hands tied because he is a very like iconic, popular story. Because he like goes blind. It's like the
yeah.
chemicals. He pushes an old guy out of the way. It's kind
But I
of
feel
like a.
also
Mhm.
that's also something that they have in common with Daredevil. I mean, we know Daredevil gets superpowers from chemicals more because of the movie than because of the show itself. I
Mhm.
don't remember the show saying explicitly that it was the chemicals that gave him that ability to sense everything around him.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I
no.
mean? I
In
don't
the
think they ever say it.
the
They just
movie does it, but the comic book, I now okay. Any like nerds out in the audience can correct me, and feel free to to write
send
me an
us hate
email.
mail.
But
Yeah.
I think that he doesn't in the comics. He doesn't get his powers from it. He just goes blind, and he gets the powers by just he develops those himself as a result of like being blind, essentially.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he has actual superpowers like Captain America who has super strength. I think he's just like I think he just like trains himself to be,
Yeah,
like
he's
super
just
acrobatic.
has this ability of like turning himself into a sort of human radar
Yeah.
which yeah, I mean there are people that of course not to that extent, but I mean, have you ever seen the blind guy that uses his tongue as a sonar to
Mm-hmm.
as a bat? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that is amazing. That kid is. living Daredevil
Yeah.
in the flesh.
I like how we turned this podcast into a podcast about like human X-Men, essentially.
Yeah, like real human
Like supposedly
X-Men.
there's a girl in Russia that can like see through, has like X-ray vision, stuff like that.
For real?
Yeah, for real. But it's a good point. I wonder if they're going to reveal. I mean, because now there's the dude too. Okay, that's a big spoiler, but like getting to
Yes.
the bartender, like that scene, I was kind of like, what? I sent you that
Yeah.
message where I was like, what's going on here?
I feel that the moment, I mean, he's a big guy and three of them attack him and he like pushes them off, but I think the moment that really clicks, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
not that, like the moment that's really awesome is when the guy breaks the bottle on his head and it just like rolls his eyes and
Yeah.
then turns.
He just like doesn't even care. He's like not even trying.
Yeah.
He's just like casually blocking them and punching the dudes. Like, get out of my car. But
Yeah.
I think that is this tie into Shield somehow or something? Because like,
No.
is this like Inhuman stuff? Because Marvel, like I've seen like the movies, and the only people with superhuman strength that I've seen is Captain America, and Bucky, who both had the serum.
Yes.
Like Iron Man doesn't have strength; he just got the machine. Thor is from a different planet. Hulk also got gamma radiation. So like, but now it's like we just have two people that are just like super strong, and I don't know. Like I feel like I don't know. I am kind of interested to see where that comes from.
Well,
like what caused that?
I think the problem, there's a lot of confusion in terms of Marvel and with Marvel and Shields and stuff, because in Shields they talk about Inhuman, but technically they wouldn't be Inhuman, they would be mutants, but because they can't use the term mutants, that's where basically a lot of the confusion comes from. So I don't know, but the thing is, like, it kind of depends. Mutants means that you have the gene already inside of you, that was either in Agents of Shield. Spoiler alert! Gets awakened by.
Yeah.
But basically, I think in here it's like specified that it's not a gene. Something happened to them. They weren't born like this. Though they don't specify for Luke, for the bartender, how he got his powers.
Well, like you said, maybe they just won't. Maybe it's just like a mystery we'll have to deal with for a while.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know if he's a mutant or if he's or he just had an accident and developed super strength. His body developed super strength of sorts. So they don't explain that. Like I don't remember them saying anything about. I think he said something like that he was born like this. That he's always been like this. So I believe then he will technically be a mutant. But yeah, I'm not very clear on the specific for that.
Another point I wanted to get to was I think that this show does really good details, like character details. And one of them that I love was just showing that Jessica Jones as a private detective, because she's also kind of like morally ambiguous, although very likable, and like you get the impression she's in it to do good. But like the first episode was all about her struggling with her own like morality. Like, should she walk away from this case that's dangerous for her? Should she stay with this case that's dangerous for her? But like, she's a little more anti-hero than hero. And I thought it was awesome in the scene where she's like, she needs to steal a uniform. And so she just starts ripping off locks of lockers of people that work there. And she just does not care. Like, she's just starts going through their stuff. Like, it's like, oh, no, this isn't going to work. She closes that door. She rips off another lock. And she really gives the impression she'll just keep going through till she finds what she wants, and she doesn't care about going through other people's stuff at all.
Oh, definitely. That's not. But I mean, that's more in the PI optic than in the, which is the PI figure, the like private detective in noir has always been this like gray area role of sorts. So like you're always like in between criminals and cops. Like
Jessica Jones gets
you're
results.
not,
God damn it!
yeah, you're not in the on the on the side of the law, but you're also not like you're more of a moral ethical figure when it comes to big things, but then in the nitty gritty you're not very big on respecting the rules.
Which is another
So
reason why it's funny that they cast David Tennant as the bad guy. Speaking of moral anti-heroes with a warped sense of morality. But
oh boy,
one of
he's
the
so great.
still talking about like the details too. I love horror movies. And Manu, when we were roommates, we watched a ton of horror movies together, and they were all
Yes.
awesome. Speaking of which, I recently watched Oculus, which I thought, despite a couple of it could have gone for maybe like a rewrite or two, but generally it was a pretty scary movie, and it had a pretty fun ending. But I love horror movies, and there was a lot of scenes or details and scenes that were really reminiscent of a horror movie in this. And I wonder if they're going for a little bit of that, like Silence of the Lambs, kind of like
definitely.
thriller, horror in between, like a little bit there at times.
They're going way more for the thriller than they're going for. Especially, I feel like the second episode was a little different because, of course, now they're setting up the story for the rest of. They're kind of like pushing the story forward and setting up more characters. But the first episode was perfect to kind of give you the tone that the entire show is gonna have probably, or is gonna want to have. I mean, seeing 5-6 episodes, I can tell I feel it's a pretty spot on tone for the entire show.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, I thought that was the very last scene with David Tennant when they show him in the house, and this is the huge spoiler, is that David Tennant, like, of course, the best Doctor Who of all time. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, all of you out there, and he was great on that show, and he's played kind of cameos here and there, but he hasn't landed too many other big roles. And he shows up as the main bad guy in this. At least right now, we don't know if he's going to last, or if he's going to go through the whole season, or even if it's just going to be an episode or two. But Manu, when he sits down with that family, did you get the implication he was going to start eating their brains?
No, because he can't cook for shit. That's why I didn't thought he was going to.
But he said, I have very particular taste. I think he's going to eat their brains.
Just this violence, like telling the kids to go in the closet, and then
that was so bad.
Pee coming out of the and I'm not like necessarily fond of kids. I mean, who am I lying? I am fond of kids. Kids are cute.
You just don't mind locking them in a closet from time to time.
Exactly. Just saying. But I will let them pee first. But yeah, that was so creepy, terrifying, and hilarious all at the same time. Just great.
Yeah, it was a good walking intro for sure.
But yeah, and the girl, I also really like the girl that plays Hope, the girl that got mind controlled. It feels a very realistic portrayal of somebody who's just traumatized, and then the moment where she walks into the elevator and smiles, and it's terrifying.
Oh, it's so creepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
That scene where Kristen Ritter finds her in the bedroom and drags her out, and eventually just does like a fireman hold, like pulls her over her shoulders, and the girl who plays Hope is like grabbing at like doorways, and we should figure out her name, but like, and is like knocking stuff off shelves. Like, that is a pretty crazy scene, because it's another one of those where you're first starting to see Kristen Ritter's strength as Jessica Jones, but then also like, it's just, this girl is like going crazy. Like, she's going completely wild.
I feel like that makes it very clear the extent of the mind control he has, where somebody will like have to be in bed and like pee herself in the bed, like just because she can't freaking move because he told her not to move.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
sort of those mind control I mean, those play on such like a deep and dark like kind of fear, you know? It's
yeah, I
really
mean that is
creepy.
literally the worst. I mean the worst and the best superpower anybody can have.
Yeah.
Like being able to talk with somebody and make them do whatever you want them to do. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be the like scariest bad guy.
Yeah, just have someone be able to take over you. And it's cool, like for Marvel, it's cool that they went that direction again where it's something weird and creepy and internal, whereas I feel like most stuff in Marvel is like big and like all the bad guys are big and shiny and external. Like again, it's just like a big ship at the end of the day, or it's it's Loki, or I mean, he does some cool, like he takes over people's minds a little bit, you know, and they've played on that before a little bit in like Avengers with Stellan Skarsgård. But this is different. They didn't go for the creep fact. Like that was almost like funny. Like they made it humorous to a certain extent.
Like, it was like over the top in a way. It wasn't. Mm-hmm. It felt very, Dracula taking control.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. There was something off about that. It was not, as terrifying as it is in this.
Yeah.
In this one.
I mean, they're going for like in the feeling of like invasion and.
Yes. And definitely.
It's just, and there's nothing. It's just pure, just like terrifying. It seems like.
Yeah, I also loved in the second episode where they introduce his Achilles heels. Like mm-hmm. They're not, they set him up as terrifying, and they do a great job at that, and how basically endless his powers are. And then in the second episode, right? It's the second episode where she talks with the doctor, mm-hmm. or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The guy who like flees from the class he's teaching.
Yeah.
That was pretty hilarious too. And he just boop, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you find out it was a great surgeon, and just like, something is off about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was great. Also, give something real that can be used to stop him, so that you don't feel. I feel like otherwise he would feel like, what's the point of the show? What's the point in our staying if he's that indestructible? Like, and you just don't want,
mm-hmm.
Like you wouldn't feel invested in or fighting him. You would be just get the hell out of town.
Yeah.
Also, because I feel like if he can control her, I mean, the problem is not just that it's a smart of her to leave because of what she can do and what he can do through her. So it's mm-hmm. a very legitimate reason to run away. Like, you're just not doing it for yourself. You're technically also doing it for others.
Well, for everyone else that got kidnapped,
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, if she left, if she was to leave, then
to Hong Kong,
it would be completely legitimate because of what it can do to using somebody like her.
Well, and that's why it's such a fear, is because, he can control her, and like she's got superpowers. So then, I assume that's why it was such a big deal, right? Because I mean, not just because that, but then she could break into a bank, or she could like knock over a building potentially. Like,
exactly.
She's like
kill somebody with her bare hands in like a second.
Yeah. So this is cool, and like I don't know which direction this can go. I just know if I was her for damn sure, I'd invest in finding somebody that could turn hypodermic needles into some kind of machine gun. So I could just fire him with like whatever that propofol or whatever, like the stuff to like knock people out. I would just train. I would just get like whatever eBay had, the best trank guns that eBay had. I would just get those and start arming everywhere, trying to knock him out.
Damn, that's genius. That is a smart move. Yeah. See why you're not in TV shows.
Yeah,
It's like
put us in
Jessica
the writer's room. Come
Jones,
on,
who's
Netflix,
also very
give
hot.
us a superhero. We'll write your show. I have another question /
Yeah.
conspiracy theory. Now, this is going to be like a series worlds colliding, but you know when the bartender, when Jessica Jones and the bartender are like talking, and he like power saws himself.
Yeah, the cage.
That was another great
Yeah.
creepy scene. He says like, "I'm unbreakable," and I thought like M. Night Shyamalan. Like, do you think that this is like a crossover? And I'm wondering, actually, I should look this up. Like, was that movie owned by Marvel? Because if that movie's owned by Marvel, technically he could just be like another incarnation of like the Bruce Willis character or something like
Dude,
that.
no. Luke Cage is a Marvel character. They're actually he's supposed to get his own show.
That's
yeah.
Luke Cage.
Yeah, that's Luke Cage. He's supposed to get his own show. Yeah, but I don't know if they're gonna keep that or they're gonna. I thought it was gonna get his own show, but then they decided that they're gonna just do him along with Jessica Jones. Like,
because they're also doing Black Panther, right? And then they're also doing Wonder Woman.
Black Panther is a completely different character, and that's in the movie, in the Winter Soldier. In the Civil War.
Didn't Netflix buy 4 shows from Marvel?
Yeah, they're gonna do.
So what are the other 2?
I don't think Black Panther is not supposed to. Luke Cage. I don't know what Luke Cage name is because I'm ignorant and I know crap. So everybody, please bear with me. But I'm checking right now, so that way we make it.
I'm checking my phone. It's good podcasting us, like checking Google.
Yeah. Oh, also called Power Man. So no, he's
go by Luke Cage. That's better.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so basically, Black Panther is a different superhero, and that's gonna be in Captain America: Civil War. So we'll see about that. That should be nice. That should be a fun show.
Hey, should we wrap this up by spending 5 minutes on the Civil War trailer? Just because
I am all for that.
I mean, I don't know if you have anything more on Jessica Jones. I've basically gone through all of my notes by this point, but I would love to get to a little bit of Bucky and Captain, because that was pretty cool. I wasn't that interested in watching it, and I was sort of like lagging and getting to it, and you were just like, watch that.
Well, okay. First of all, before we finish with Jessica Jones, like Crystal Ritter is great in the part. I really like her, and I mean, I loved Don't Trust the Beach in Apartment 23. So I missed the show a lot, but this is good. I'm happy that she's doing this. So I guess that it wasn't all in vain. The end of the other show wasn't all in vain, though it was an amazing show.
Agreed. I never watched Don't Trust the... I thought it was Don't Trust the Bee, which made it seem like a stupider name.
Don't Trust the Beach in Apartment 23, and then they were like, well, I guess we can have, and, ABC can have... Like, it was not an ABC show.
Yeah.
So I feel, yeah.
I was one of the few that, like... I wasn't super into her storyline in Breaking Bad. It was okay. But I think that she's like incredibly perfectly cast in this.
Yes, and I don't think anybody was into her storyline in Breaking Bad. I feel like nobody really liked her character.
She got written as kind of like, unfortunately, and like she was just like the girlfriend that wanted him to take the money and run,
Yeah.
But
which, let's say, wasn't that stupid of an idea.
No, she had a point. She did have a point. But yeah, no, she's amazing. Like, she pulls off the gritty side of it. Like, like she's legit just like drinking the whole time. She kind of like knows how to talk to people. She just like knows how to stare people down. I mean, I think she's been cast in a lot of roles for having kind of like a mean girl look, maybe. And she plays it perfectly here. Just wears leather jackets and is like a tough, smart, very troubled like lead character, and she doesn't take shit, but
Yeah.
she's also like well rounded in a bunch of different ways. So I think they did a great job with her, at least so far, two
Yeah.
episodes in. And
Oh
I
no,
think
I
that her
also feel
casting was
'cause
was really fortuitous.
yeah, and I feel at times she's a bit her acting is in no way subtle in the show, but I feel a it's a choice,
Hmm.
uh, and it's a choice that fits the show perfectly. In terms, I mean, noirs are hardly ever subtle in the way they're acted, and and so I feel it's great, like the way she plays the character. Um, yeah, so we can move over to talking about um, you know, Captain America: Civil War, the trailer.
Civil
Um,
War. It's on.
it's on.
Tony
It's
Stark
on.
wants to put restrictions on superheroes. Captain America thinks no.
Well, also, I feel Captain America is also saying no to having his best friend killed just because he was mind controlled into being evil. It's like, that's not very cool. He technically is a victim of Hydra. He shouldn't classify as as the escape.
Guys, it's not black and
Scapegoat.
white. Okay, there's mind
Exactly.
control involved.
It's a lot of gray. It's a
Yeah.
lot of gray.
See, that's what Jessica Jones is trying to say too. There's mind control involved,
Exactly.
guys. Why don't you listen?
I mean, because on
So,
one hand, you're saying, yes, I understand that if people are able to be, if people are a weapon on themselves, you might want to have them, say what they can do and being registered in that sense. But at the same time, they're like, yeah, the last time they were registered, it was a evil Nazi secret agency inside the agency. So
or just,
probably not the greatest time to trust government.
well, I know there's like a separation of X-Men and Marvel now, but talk to Magneto about that too. He wasn't with Hydra. He was a victim of the original evil empire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, and I'm all for a bromance between Bucky Barnes and freaking Steve Rogers. So
That's
Rogers,
not
I
what
can
you
forgive
told
Steve.
me when I asked you about that fight scene between the two of them, Tony Stark. You told me you wrote, I went, woo, and you had like 12 W's on that.
Yeah, that
So
was
you were
great.
feeling all kinds of things when you watched that one.
That was great. I felt things. I felt a lot of things when I saw that scene. I mean, the thing is, like, I loved Iron Man when it came out, but Iron Man is a bit of an asshole. Like, let's just so, and it's like, dude, fucking whatever. He killed your parents. It was, it was like mind control. Give him a fucking break. So,
Oh, did Bucky kill Iron Man's parents?
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe that's why he's pissed. I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, Winter Soldier killed this. I mean, before we knew he was Bucky Barnes, but yeah, like in the movie they're discussing all the stuff that he did, and he supposedly killed also, our Stark and wife.
Gotcha.
Is the one that like drove them out of. I think. Am I spoiling something? I might be spoiling something. I hope I'm not. It's just like
audience, get up on your Marvel.
Okay. Oh well, I hope people are not gonna hate me for it. Like when I spoiled you guys with True Story, I told them the end of Sophie's Choice, and they got pissed at me because I spoiled a 30-year-old movie that's part of the pop culture vernacular, but somehow I wasn't allowed to talk about it.
I missed that part of the vernacular. Okay, hey Manu, I'm almost out of space on my computer. I'm just getting pop-ups about it, so we should probably end this before it gets shut down.
Yes, I agree.
I don't know if I have any plugs. I'm doing another podcast over at the Quantum Institute. If anyone wants to check that out. But Manu, is there anything that you want to say to the audience?
Older than bye, and I hope I didn't offend your ears too much. No, that's it.
I hope I did a little bit.
So, not too bad. I mean, yeah, I could have, said the name that I was proposing for the podcast, and I didn't. So I think I gained points for not being that offensive.
Nice.
Anyway, okay. Well, I guess we'll talk on the next 2 episodes tomorrow or in the days to come.
All right.
Cool. Okay.
Jessica Jones out.